The date is March 29, 1987. The atmosphere in the Pontiac Silverdome is electric, the building vibrating under the weight of over 93,000 screaming fans. The crowd is whipped into a fever pitch, awaiting the spectacle that is WrestleMania 3. The air is thick with anticipation, the electric buzz of excitement palpable, and as the camera pans across the venue, it's clear this event is unlike any other. The scale, the energy, and the magnitude are all consuming. Yet amidst the grand spectacle, one name looms large: the Honky Tonk Man. Dressed in his iconic rhinestone-studded jumpsuit, an ostentatious mockery of rock and roll glamour, the Honky Tonk Man makes his entrance, not just as a competitor, but as an embodiment of wrestling's most refined form of villainy. His mere presence is enough to draw the ire of the crowd, a testament to the character he has cultivated over time. As he struts into the ring, there is no doubt in anyone's mind. This is a man who knows how to control an audience, how to command the spotlight, and how to provoke with calculated precision. On this night, at the grandest stage of them all, the Honky Tonk Man is not just a character in a match. He is the epitome of wrestling's most captivating and frustrating villain. In the ring, he faces Jake the Snake Roberts, another character driven by a dark menace, but tonight Roberts is outmatched. Accompanied by his manager Jimmy Hart, the Honky Tonk Man has a clear advantage. But it's not just his manager that sets him apart. It's his uncanny ability to generate heat, to elicit a reaction, to bend the very nature of what it means to be a heel in professional wrestling. In one of the more memorable moments of the evening, after a match that sees the Honky Tonk Man use every trick in the book to escape with a controversial victory, he finds himself narrowly avoiding Jake Roberts' wrath as the legendary Alice Cooper looks on, his snake Damien draped across his shoulders. The crowd's reaction is deafening, and the Honky Tonk Man, once again, proves that he has mastered the art of the heel. To understand how the man-born Roy Wayne Ferris became one of the most hated figures in wrestling history, we have to look at his origins, his early days in the business, and the key turning points that would lead him to become a WWF legend. Born on January 25, 1953, in the small town of Bolivar, Tennessee, Wayne Ferris launched his wrestling career in 1977 in Malden, Missouri, where he teamed with his training partner, Coco B. Ware, under the guidance of promoter Henry Rogers. By 1978, he had transitioned to Memphis wrestling, initially performing as a jobber, before establishing himself as Dynamite Wayne Ferris, competing in various southern cities like Birmingham and Pensacola. His breakthrough came when he formed the tag team, the Blonde Bombers, with Larry Latham in Florida Championship Wrestling, a pairing orchestrated by Jerry Briscoe. The duo later returned to Memphis, adding Sergeant Danny Davis as their manager to further cement their notoriety. The Blonde Bombers ignited intense rivalries with beloved teams across Tennessee, splitting their time between Nick Gullis's Nashville territory and Jerry Jarrett's Memphis promotion. Their legacy was cemented with the chaotic Tupelo concession stand brawl against Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee, a moment etched in wrestling lore. Throughout the early 1980s, they carved a path of championship glory in various promotions, dominating both singles and tag team divisions. In 1982, Ferris debuted for Stampede Wrestling in Calgary, where he unveiled the Honky Tonk Wayne persona, a charismatic homage to Elvis Presley, complete with slicked-back hair, sideburns, and a signature guitar. Teaming with Ron Starr, he captured the Stampede Wrestling International Tag Team Championship twice, later claiming the same title alongside Cuban Assassin. Honky's crowning achievement came on June 20, 1986, when he defeated Bad News Allen to win the Stampede North American Heavyweight Championship. The reign was cut short as the title was vacated upon his departure to the WWF later that year, marking the beginning of a legendary career. The Federation introduced Honky Tonk Man's character with a flurry of promos on their new syndicated programs, beginning with a bold promise on the debut episode of Superstars to tap dance on the head of Paul Orndorff. Honky's televised debut came on Wrestling Challenge on September 28, 1986, where he defeated Terry Gibbs, with none other than champion Hulk Hogan endorsing him as a fan favorite. After his house show debut against Intercontinental Champion Randy Savage on October 8, 1986, Honky faced marquee opponents like Savage and Jake Roberts, culminating in a televised bout against Savage, which ended in a count-out loss. Fan reactions to Honky Tonk Man were tepid at best, prompting the Federation to shift gears with a series of promos alongside Jesse "The Body" Ventura, where Honky sought a vote of confidence from the audience. Emulating Andy Kaufman's condescending style, he mocked fans during his plea, further souring their opinion. By November 22, 1986, the vote results were overwhelmingly negative, solidifying his transformation into a brash villain under the guidance of Jimmy Hart, now billed as Colonel, in a nod to Elvis Presley's iconic manager. Honky Tonk Man's first major feud erupted with Jake the Snake Roberts, who was transitioning into a fan favorite. The rivalry escalated when Honky ambushed Roberts on the snake pit, smashing a guitar over his back, an incident mired in controversy. Roberts claimed the guitar was real, not gimmicked, and caused a severe injury that led to his reliance on painkillers, though Honky and others have disputed this, citing Roberts' prior substance abuse issues. Their heated feud culminated at WrestleMania 3, where Honky secured a tainted victory by using the ropes, only for Roberts and Alice Cooper to retaliate, unleashing Damien, Roberts' Python, on Honky's manager, Jimmy Hart. On June 13, 1987, Honky Tonk Man defeated Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on Superstars to claim the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, using the bottom ropes for leverage to secure a controversial pinfall victory. Originally, Butch Reed was slated to win the title, and Honky was intended to serve as a transitional champion. However, after Jake Roberts failed multiple drug tests, Honky's reign was extended, ultimately becoming the longest in the title's history. In a later interview, Honky credited Hulk Hogan for advocating on his behalf during an impromptu meeting with Vince McMahon, swaying McMahon's initial plans and securing Honky's pivotal championship opportunity. To retain his Intercontinental Championship, Honky Tonk Man often resorted to deliberate countouts or disqualifications against challengers like Billy Jack Haynes, Bruno Sammartino, and George the Animal Steele. By September 1987, Macho Man Randy Savage, in the midst of a heroic turn, began targeting Honky after Honky proclaimed himself the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all time and disparaged past title holders, especially Savage. Their rivalry reached a peak on the October 3, 1987 episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, where interference from Jimmy Hart's Hart Foundation saved Honky from defeat. The match's chaos escalated when Miss Elizabeth brought Hulk Hogan to Savage's aid, forming the legendary Mega Powers, and the feud deepened as Honky made repeated advances toward Elizabeth, culminating in their final grudge matches in steel cage bouts ahead of WrestleMania 4. Honky's next major rival was Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Their feud, which began at WrestleMania 4, where Beefcake had Honky in a sleeper hold before Jimmy Hart caused a disqualification, intensified as Beefcake vowed to cut Honky's prized ducktail hair, a promise he echoed in fiery promos. Honky countered with Peggy Sue, a mysterious valet often portrayed by Jimmy Hart in drag, while Beefcake retaliated with Georgina, played hilariously by George the Animal Steele. Scheduled to defend his title against Beefcake at SummerSlam 1988, Honky faced a last-minute twist when Beefcake was sidelined by Ron Bass, leading to a surprise challenge from the Ultimate Warrior, who demolished Honky in 31 seconds to claim the title and end his historic 454-day reign, the longest in history until Gunther surpassed it in September 2023. Teaming with Greg Valentine as Rhythm and Blues, the duo made a splash at WrestleMania 6 by arriving in a pink Cadillac, driven by future Hall of Famer Diamond Dallas Page. After memorable bouts against teams like the Hart Foundation and the Legion of Doom, they joined the $1 Million Team at Survivor Series 1990, which featured the debut of The Undertaker. Honky concluded his WWF tenure as a color commentator on Superstars, alongside Vince McMahon and Roddy Piper, before departing in January 1991. In the years following his WWF departure, Ferris wrestled on the independent circuit and briefly in WCW before making a return to the Federation in 1996. After leaving again in 2001, he spent nearly 2 decades spreading the honky gospel across the independent wrestling scene. His legendary career was immortalized with his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2019. The Honky Tonk Man's ability to craft a character that was as loathed as it was entertaining made him a central figure in the golden era of professional wrestling. Honky was more than just a wrestler. He was an entertainer, a provocateur, and a villain who knew how to generate heat in a way that few others could ever match. Today, Wayne Ferris may be retired, But the legacy of the Honky Tonk Man lives on, cemented in the hearts and minds of wrestling fans everywhere. His contribution to the world of professional wrestling remains undeniable, as he showed that the power of the villain could elevate the sport to new heights. For every good guy, there must be a bad guy, and the Honky Tonk Man was the bad guy that everyone loved to hate. Thank you for watching.